Howdy, all you delicious people. I am to go on and not so work the system because I'm sure a lot of people would assume that. I am just trying to go on and trying to make my life easier. And hopefully, by telling this story, I can go on in the future to make my life easier. That's all I've ever wanted. That's all I've ever wanted to do. So, I am to deal with, even if you can see here, I am to have for my eyes a light sensitivity. I go on and I consistently wear glasses to protect myself from getting migraines or to quite so easily tire my eyes out. For how much time I have to go on and spend with doing screen time or to eventually also have like blue light glasses that can help me just kind of strengthen my eyes instead of weaken them. But from time to time, I still get migraines. And most of the time, more recently, is to really be from a certain shopping app, of which the name will probably to be avoided to be said by me, but we can all probably figure it out, right? So I go on and I make my way to shopping app and I go on to realize that I'm to be mainly a person who goes through life in every single app that I normally do through a dark theme. Facebook's, YouTube Studios all have these dark themes that I adjust to and they make my life easier. I then go on and I eventually go through Chrome sometimes and have to go through IMDb's and I have to go at some points to just uh, kind of sift through certain websites and stuff, and not all of those are to eventually not have anything more but a white screen, so I have to eventually kind of go through those so quickly just so that way I can spend less time uh, with my eyes in front of a white screen. I've even gone on to adjust my device to dim uh, the device even more so it kind of cuts down more of the light from the device coming to my eyes so I can save my eyes as much as I can. But here's where we get to shopping app. So a shopping app, which may or may not be Temu, is to go on and ultimately be an app that I need to spend time on because of my financial means of realizing that the items there are fairly cheap and the items are also at certain points are also free. When eventually I go into places like farmland and take my time and patience because it takes a lot of that to get through a thing like that to ultimately after hundreds and hundreds of days because it continues to reset quite frequently about how long this is going to take to get any number of items because eventually the expiration date continues to again uh, reset, but that just is going to tell me that this is going to take a lot longer to try to get whatever item of which that I am to want to achieve getting, which I've grown to accept that fact and be understanding, even though also I should be frustrated. But, anyways, so I go through all these things, and I think the most difficult task is just to search anything upon this app that may or may not be Temu. And the search bar ultimately leads me of thesauruses of alternative ways to try to find the exact same thing over and over and over again. Here's an example. Instead of saying the word Power Rangers, I need to come up with words like Sentai. Instead of saying superhero compression shirt, I have to say pattern shirt, and so on and so forth. The endless amount of time that I have to spend figuring out these key amount of words to get what I want is to honestly be just so, why did I need to take that time? But if anything, again, I am a very patient person, and I am to go on and make my way into this app to realize that I can get things for cheap and also things for free. So I realized that there is to be some painstaking things to get um, to ultimately that success of cheap and free items. So at a kind of knockoff quality, but still close enough. So if I haven't said already, for how difficult this app could be, that forces me to take more time within it. To spend hours of my day, every day, consistently going into this, to eventually either need to thesaurus my way to search items because the search engine is just not perfectly all that well set up, or to go on and go through farmland, which every bit of all these have too many white screens for all of them. And I, in turn, was to go on and hope that I could speak to somebody of customer service to go on and figure out if there is just some button, if there's something that I'm not aware of, if there could be some adjustment to go on and be made in the future for this app to make my life easier, to make my life better of quality. But then I have to go through customer service in order to make that uh, that question or that suggestion or whatever. And here is my experience with customer service when it comes down to this app. So, my first ever time dealing with customer service made me not want to go on and ever want to do it again, just for the hoops that I had to jump through. So, why would I want to do that again? But I did now 3 times to eventually be unsure if anything is to ever go anywhere, but still. So, the first time I went into customer service was a completely different issue than the other two. So let me address this. So the first time was just me going through farmland, and I had gone through farmland so many times at this point that eventually it always is just seemingly most of the time end in a very similar to same manner, where you have the 1 cent thing, you get past the 1 cent, and then it is to go on and state that it's going to give you your items, and you have to either accept credit or accept a alternative item, which most of the time I just accept credit when it's sold out, because most of the time most of the items are sold out, and that's perfectly fine. That's okay. But anyways, so this round of time with farmland, when you get to the 1 cent, all of a sudden it resets and it's still 1 cent again. And I was like, okay, is this a glitch? Like, what's the problem here? Like, I've never had this happen before. So I go to customer service to express this problem, and I'm first met with AI. I go on and I explain this problem to AI, knowing it won't give me an answer. And then shortly thereafter that, I continue to ask it to get me to a human being, to get me to customer service, to get me to a real person, a real boy. And I just continue to just say these combination of magical words, hoping that the conversation will change, and eventually it gets there over time. So the the AI goes on and asks if I would like to speak to an agent, which I agree to doing so. And I'm like, okay, that must be the perfect combination of words for me to say in the future, because again, feasibly none of this is to be all well explained, or you have to magically figure it out, or psychically just already know this is going to go on, so that way you can have a shorter lifespan taken up by these people. So I make my way into the agent, and I go on, and this person is to have supposedly read everything of what I've gone on to already said within this chat. And they in turn immediately go on, and I think all they read was the word farmland, because all they state is like, well, yeah, farmland is a very challenging thing. Just keep on grinding, and you'll go on and you'll beat it eventually. And I'm like, how am I supposed to beat a glitch? How am I supposed to beat a thing where it just keeps resetting, and like I feel like I'm going nowhere? Like, how am I going to beat this then? And so I I realize that I'm probably not a really good explainer of my problem. So I re-explain the problem, and it takes three different iterations of time for me to re-explain this to this person, to eventually have the person then explain to me how there is an extended feature for farmland where the plant of the farmland has to continue to ripen and ripen and ripen. So, and then I'll get my items after that. So I'm like, why, or how is it that anyone would go on to know that that is to be a feature within this game now? Because it is to go on and now be this new feature of thing. And why wouldn't that frustrate anybody? But I'm just like, whatever. Like, I'm just to be like, immediately I just tell the people, it's like, well, how, like why is this a new feature now? Like, why would you implement this? And they go on and they say it's like, oh, it's always been there. I'm like, no, it hasn't. To me, it's never been there. I've completed so many farmland things at this point. It's never been like this. But okay, I'm to just be like not very argumentative. I am to just be like, okay, like, so this must be the answer that only they can give me, and I'm fine with that. So I'm going to go on to continue to live my life because I have other things to do. So time passes, and I go on to get ever so much more, having my eyes be so very tired. And I end up getting migraines a lot more from just the continued use of Temu. So I, in turn, go on and I finally relent to go back into customer service, realizing how difficult it was prior, to then go on and hope that uh, this question could just be like, oh yeah, like all you need to do is just hit this button and have this be resolved. And I'm like, great, because maybe there was just some setting feature or just some thing that I wasn't aware of that I hope that this person give me the answer. Because the second time around, I came up with the question about my eye sensitivity and how uh, lighting or white screens affect it, and I get migraines. So I'm hoping that these people can give me some kind of button to hit so I can go into a now dark theme for this app, because I've been doing this app for so long now that I could not find that feature anywhere. So I was to go on and hope that maybe I just didn't look somewhere and it's somehow available, which it isn't, and it still isn't. Now that I've gone on to discuss this with them now twice now. But so the first time of me going into this customer service, so I explained to them about this because I cut to the quick when immediately dancing around with the AI to say, hey, give me an agent. And immediately it directs me there. And then I put in the whole story of like, well, yeah, like I have this eye sensitivity, like white screens hurt my eyes, they give me migraines, blah, blah, blah. So, like, immediately when I go on and I hope that I speak with a human being, and they say that they're going to take the time to fully read out everything that happens here. Again, I think that they only pick out keywords and they don't to have fully have read everything, because their answers are not something that is to be fully yeah, because the person who goes on and answers to me after they've said they've read everything would go on to then in turn say that I need to go to the settings of my device and turn on my dark theme or my dark mode of my device. And believe me, dear sir, I have gone on to have made my way quite a bit of time ago on my device and have made that adjustment. Hence why my Facebooks, my YouTubes, my YouTube studios, and Chromes and everything in between are to have seemingly a dark mode, which makes my life most of the time fairly easier, except for you, that is making it more difficult. But I digress. So, as soon as this person goes on and tells me adjust these things on the setting, and then I come back to this app, all I tell them is like, well, I've gone on to turn my dark mode back on and off, and back on again, and so why am I still seeing a white screen in front of me? Why am I still talking to you on a white screen? Uh, uh, like, is there anything else that I can go on and do? Is there something I'm missing here? Please help me. So eventually, the person goes on and is to eventually realize that there isn't much for him to go on and actually do here. So they're like, well, yeah, like we don't really have a function or a feature that is to be in place in this app, but I'll give you $10 for your trouble, and that's all I can really go on and tell you. Like eventually, this person is to say something along the lines of that they'll uh, have this suggestion to bring up to their people, to their and see what they can implement in the future. So here's the ironic thing of that whole statement. So I'm explaining to you that I am to not want to go on and continue to see white screens, but you're giving me compensation to then give me the temptation to want to further go into white screens to continue to give me migraines because I really want to go on and spend this money, which I did. Uh, Thankfully, I had gotten that compensation. Like, I'm not ungrateful that I'd gotten this whole $10. But, anyways, I am to just say that, like, wouldn't you find that to just be like a slap in the face in some ways? But I don't say that to this person. I just let it go because, again, I don't want to be argumentative. I just want to make my life and everyone else's easier. I hope that is going to happen here. So, you know what? I just let time pass because, like, I move on with things. I forget. Like, I have a lot of going on. And so I don't think about it. Then I continue to just do Temu stuff. And again, I'm starting to notice that I get migraines or that my eyes are really tired. And so, like, I'm at this again where I'm like, should I go to their customer service? Should I talk about this? I've let so much time elapse now. Like, justifiably, should I go on and should I go to them to see if I'm going to get a different answer? To see, because there's a lot of times when you go to a customer service and they say that they'll take certain suggestions under advisement, but a lot of times that's basically the Indiana Jones equivalent of them saying that they're going to take this thing and give it to top men, and top men meaning that they're just going to make it disappear and you're never going to see it again. And it basically is going to be a thing that's going to mean nothing. So, because I've been in retail and I will get that same exact response that nothing is ever going to come up from it. Because really so much of retail at some points is to also just feel like a lie and just to frustrate to people and force them to just like return items and whatever because feasibly there's nothing a retailer will do besides just frustrate a customer. So maybe I will end up being that in this case where I just have to consistently keep getting compensation for this same problem, but hey, at least I'll continue to just keep getting compensation, at least, right? Some form of my suffering will get rewarded, hopefully, right? So, or maybe if enough people complain about the same thing, then maybe things will change. But until that time comes, here's where I still am at. So, I go into this customer service a second time, and I immediately go to AI and I just immediately put my problem down on there. And the AI can't answer, so it immediately cuts me to an agent, which again, this agent is to take the time to read everything that I was to put down and the AI was to put down and what have you. So this is the first ever time I've spoken to supposedly a human being and they actually I think have read what I've told them and they would come back to me with like, yeah, we don't have a dark theme feature on our app. I'm like, thank God. So I must have explained to you in a way of which that you can understand. So after going on and dealing with AI person, then I'm dealing with supposedly human being person. And this person goes on to state that this is kind of beyond their pay grade, and there's no way for them to be able to go on and technically answer this this problem. So they in turn are going to go on and set up a ticket. A ticket. So instead of going on and like transitioning me to another person, which like I've worked at retail, and a lot of times when you're getting nowhere with somebody, uh like the next escalation is like, well, hey, could I speak to your manager? Could I speak to somebody in charge? Which I guess for this thing there is none. But anyways, I'm just like, you know what? Let's be easy, and like I'm not gonna argue the whole ticket thing. But here's the thing. So they go on and they explain to me that they're setting up this ticket thing, which I have nowhere of knowledge of where that's actually at within the app, because none of that was explained to me. I've never done a ticket thing in my life in this app before, because this is a new thing to me, which again, this app just loves to not explain things to you. And the customer service just assumes that you know where this is and you know what it is and you can understand at all what any of this is. Yeah, they just psychically think that you they just think that you're a psychic, that you just are to completely understand all this. Or maybe I probably should have gone on and asked them where this actually was within the app, but like I didn't think that I would have needed to do something like that. I probably should have. Maybe that's my mistake. Maybe I need to do my due diligence and ask them where this shit is, and spend more of their time because of how they won't explain it to me. Temu, in the future, think that all of your customers are absolutely ignorant, because they should be. They should be ignorant to you. They're not going to figure out your lingo. They're not going to have an experience in retail, not every single one of them. And they're not going to know um, anything other than just frustration and anger while being in your app, to the point to where they eventually want to go on and leave said app because feasibly they're not really getting enough out of it, because they don't know, or they won't be patient enough for your bullshit. And I say that in a way of which that is to just be, like, not frustrated myself. I'm just saying like, well, I guess this is just what I have to deal with. So I go on and I do the whole ticket thing, and they say to, oh yeah, just continue to just check back and see if this progress will get resolved. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's not happening, because I have one, a life, and two, uh, like I am assuming that this thing isn't going to get resolved right away. And also like if it ended up becoming that if I didn't make a response in a timely manner, then I guess two ships passing the night, and I'll just go on and I'll make my way again to this customer service with this same exact problem, and we'll do this dance all over again, because I feel like I'll end up having to do it all over again if nothing changes within a month of time, because that's what I plan on doing. I plan to keep coming to this customer service with this same exact problem if nothing changes, because I feel at this point now, then I'm like, you know what? I really love going into their customer service. I want to just keep talking to them and hope that this app can get better because of all the problems that I have with it, as well as also the problems that I continue to have. Even I've now gone to this app customer service twice for the same thing. So I go on and I wait uh, patiently and not check this app much, because I don't want to get migraines continue to go back in and out of it. So eventually, I let a number of hours pass, thinking that at least they'll get back to me within the same business day. So I go on and I finally get a letter, which I have to magically find somewhere, from this person that is to resolve my problem. And it's some guy named William or something. So he goes on and he writes. He's very sympathetic by the fact that I have uh, light sensitivity to my eyes, which I appreciated. This whole writing of thing all breaks down in a very well thought out, like, paragraphs of letter, which I appreciate and I fully read. And so, but eventually, the most important parts is that one, they basically just take this problem and they're having it under consideration, which again, it's the Indiana Jones top men thing where it's going to disappear and never to be seen again. But I get compensation again. This is the second time compensation. And this time the compensation is $15 whole dollars. $15 whole dollars, everybody? I'm rich, bitch. So yeah, I'm just to be like, man, I'm just to be overwhelmed by the fact that these people are going on and giving me compensation. Uh, Probably not justified still, but the because feasibly it's like, well, this problem is still occurring, but this problem is ongoing. Should I keep coming to them every other day and ask if where they're at with this whole status, so I can just keep getting compensation and working the system, even though I'm not trying to, because I'm not trying to do that because I don't want to. I don't want to. Like I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to be that horrible of a person. But within a month time, if there still is no change, like I feel that it's going to force my hand at this point. I'm going to monthly uh, go to their customer service to still have this complaint because I hope there's an update that eventually comes because there may have been somebody that might have said that, but um, like I'm not trying to bully this one app. If anything, I think every other app and every other website and every other thing should have this same thing. But I honestly go to Temu more so than any other thing. So that's why I specifically am to talk about this specific shopping app of one instead of going on and pointing out Amazon's or Walmart.com's for their white screens because I specifically don't go there enough for me to go on and need to complain about it. Plus, also, the Amazon or Walmart.com is drastically different than the Temu because in Amazon, you search for an item and you get a result that matches what you search. For Temu, you go on and you put something in a search bar, and it just comes up with whatever. You put in a men's T-shirt, and you get a loaf of bread. Like that's Temu for you. So like that's not exact, but if anything, that's goddamn close. Uh, you put in uh, the word T-shirt and you get a book. Like that's basically Temu for you. If any of Temu wants to go on and and be upset by me saying any of these things, I am more than willing to come up with more things of problems that I have with this app. And also, still, you guys have yet to resolve my eye sensitivity problem. So, why shouldn't I be upset with you? Is that not fair? I'm not saying that this needs to be resolved in 24 hours. I'm not saying that, like, even the month thing. I'm like, the month thing is to be like more than enough time, more than enough to, like, that's even overkill, uh, to see some changes to be made. But I'm willing to be that patient to hope that this gets resolved. Fair? So, with that said, I hope this video is to go on and hope to not have a part 2, or hope to not have anything more than just like, okay, this was a time capsule of time where this app was this way, and hopefully they strive in the future to make so many improvements to make a better quality of life for both me and every single person that goes into it, that is to ever be a customer and what have you. So, with that said, I was to just want to just drop this story down here, even though, and probably in all honesty, it is to be a thing that probably a lot of people will not care about. But, like, I just wanted to take this time just to get this out there, just to get this off my chest. That is all that I've ever wanted to just do. Is to just get certain things off my chest, to deliver it therapeutically, and just be done with it. As far as other problems with Temu, whip out your violins, everybody. Yeah. So, uh, there are times when I go on and I think to just purchase one item, and all of a sudden it tells me that I need to purchase X number of dollars, to where it stops me from purchasing an item. I'm like, Timu must hate money then, because like I'm not going to spend X number of dollars that they want me to spend. I'm just going to want to buy this one item and move on. So eventually, I have to go on and figure out some kind of strategies and figure out some ways to still get that one item instead of going on and needing to purchase multiple things and spend more money that I probably don't have. Um, Getting multiple items that are far too expensive, uh, in my mind. Uh, Other than that, yeah, like there are certain things that are put in place in Timu where it doesn't make sense the pricing. Like I can obviously go on and look at the Ben 10 watch and it's like $40 on Timu, but I can go on and get the same thing on eBay for like maybe $10. Does that make sense to anybody? Like there's helmets and there's costumish things that are like hundreds of dollars. There's like a Power Ranger sword that's like 60, $70, and I can go onto eBay and get it for 20. Like, why would I go through Timu to get that when I can go somewhere else and get it for way cheaper? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Um, I don't know what Timu is doing for their prices. It just doesn't make sense. Also, it is kind of funny how you go through just a search engine to search an item, and at some point you'll go on and you'll get three of the exact same thing that comes through, uh, while you're just kind of sifting through the items, you get three of the same thing that pops up on the same screen, and there'll be three completely different prices of it, and I don't understand why. The pictures are all the same, but the prices are different. Why does that happen? Is that coming from three different sellers of Temu? Like, is is it coming from a local warehouse or an overseas one? Why is that to go on and happen? Like, is that a glitch? Is that a problem? Like, I don't get why that happens. But if anything, like, I guess that just helps me go on and find a better price for the exact same item, and that I guess I can just be happy about. But still, I'm just like, but why does that happen? Why is it the same item but different price ranges? And it's all like it's men's. It's the same. It's like the description is almost identical, or the description is the same. So like, yeah, it's just like, why is that drastically different from the same like, I'm so confused. um the only thing that I get that in is maybe like eBay, where eBay, it has completely different pictures of the same similar thing, but it's priced differently because everybody is to kind of match things. So I'm like, also, I kind of wonder if Timu is to go on and just have like a certain number of manufacturers that it's just shipping from, uh, instead of it just being one individual company or whatever that just ships all this stuff out. Like, I'm assuming that Timu is almost like an Amazon in a way, but I just don't know. Um, where we just have a number of individual people that are all just hawking their stuff on Amazon. um, is that like Timu, or is Timu just one company that just has all this shit that they just weirdly just don't know what they have, and they're just marketing it down on weird goofy prices and whatever is to I have no idea how this app is doing what it's doing, but regardless, if I can find a thing at a cheap price, then that's what I'm going to do. But if anything, I'm going to get out of here to try to make this video less long, because I'm sure no one will care about a 40-minute video about me talking about my compensation from Temu. But anyways, I'm gonna get the heck out of here. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody. Because like, I could probably go on and on about the problems of Temu, but if anything, I think those that says enough. My problems with it is to be enough. If you were to have migraines or headaches because of making your way through Temu on a regular basis, maybe you need to talk to them, and maybe you might get compensation out of this too. Uh, don't suffer in silence. Go to their customer service and realize how pulling teeth that is, but still, uh, at least you'll probably go on and maybe get $10 or more out of this. So, with that said, I'm going to get the heck out of here. Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.